Facebook's conference call with executives was supposed to defend the company and ease investor fears after a scathing New York Times report yesterday. But take a look at the stock's reaction. It dropped 3% today. Investors obviously not convinced that CEO Mark Zuckerberg has things under control. So what needs to happen to turn the tide, guys?
Well, the obvious answer to that is that the wrong person was on that conference call yesterday. It shouldn't have been Mark Zuckerberg. It should have been the chief operating officer, Sheryl Sandberg, who's been responsible for policy for years, which is the fundamental problem here. So the easy thing to say is she's got to go, but she's been a central part of running what's a successful commercial company. And if she goes, that's not exactly an easy fix.
I agree with Adam, but I also look at the big technology companies, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and then I look at Facebook, and I think Facebook's in a very vulnerable position, scandal or not.
Yeah, very vulnerable position. This stock, when it blows through 100 back into the double digits, somebody's going to be leaving to spend some time with their families who's in the executive suite. And I got to say, it's somebody was leaning in too far, it looks like. And I don't think this is going to get better. And it's not that Zuckerberg is right. I don't think he's capable of running a company that's this political at this point and this large globally. His tech genius era is kind of over now, and now it's like you got to manage the public impression, and they're very bad at that at this point.
I think you raise a good point. I listened to his comments today, and he sounded peevish to me and sort of tired of the whole thing. He wants this to go away, but the problem is it isn't going to go away, and no, at the very least, Facebook's going to have to hire a whole lot more people to try and self-regulate. I just think that's a cost issue and a political issue going forward. I think they have some problems.
I will quickly take the other side of what I just argued, which is that Mark Zuckerberg.
Are we not enough of a debater for you? You have to argue with yourself.
I just want everyone to consider that there's another scenario here, which is that he has managed through an amazing number of transitions in a relatively short period of time for an extremely young guy. It wouldn't shock me if he figures out a way to do it again.
You know, one of the things that came out of that Times piece, you had to read about 1,000 words in to get to it, was Senator Chuck Schumer telling Senator Mark Warner to back off of the Facebook role enabling Russian interference in the election. I'm wondering why that happened, why he would do something like that.
Well, his daughter works for the company. That was one issue that the New York Times raised. But otherwise, it is an interesting question. I mean, it was a political statement, I think. I mean, he just didn't want...
I think he's been sympathetic to the company for a while. He's one of that era of Democrats who they have been very close to and cozy with, and I don't think it goes any deeper than that.
That would be all tech companies, which is why none of them have been heavily regulated all these years through the Obama administration, unlike the banks, let's say.
So is that all fading away, all of those connections between Democrats and Silicon Valley?
Now it is, yeah. I think the era of Democrats being pally with these these publicly favorable companies out is over, because now the public's starting to turn a little on Facebook. And by the way, I think this is more of a domestic issue.
Both the populist left and the populist right are pretty angry about big tech's role in society, and that both the populist left and the populist right, the sentiment about big tech is getting wider and wider.
So what's going to happen, Rich?
For Facebook, I think that Mark Zuckerberg, I have faith that Adam does, that Zuckerberg so far deserves a chance to turn it around. But big tech is going to be regulated. I always thought it would be Amazon that would be regulated first, but it could be somebody else.
And Rich makes an important point. This is an area where the populist left will work with the Trump administration if they can get their act together. But that leadership won't come from Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, to be clear.
And let's not forget, Trump recently turned on even though he used Twitter to great success, he also kind of started calling out these companies before the Democrats are starting to jump on it now that these stories are coming out.